GB's here into the Square Circle podcast. Welcome to the Weekend Insider of Into the Square Circle podcast. Yeah, it's been a while, but here we are, folks. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Yeah, this is nice and beautiful here in the Chicagoland area. 80s, sunny skies. Oh, a little bit of fishing, a little bit of drinking, a little bit of cooking on the grill. But that's that. That's me. And this podcast is all pro wrestling. That's right, folks. We will talk about AEW Dynamite that went down this past Wednesday. Oh, boy. Was that video that the Young Bucks unveiled to the world about the All-In Backstage incident? Did that really hurt AEW? Did it? Don't lie to me. Also on the show, WWE Smackdown went down this past Friday. The Bloodline is making a big change. And a debut from a well-known New Japan star who was just left the company not that long ago. And this individual is now joining the Bloodline. But who is it? We will talk about it right here on the show. And for the main event of the show, we will talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling, Windy City Riot that went down at the Wintrust Arena in downtown Chicago. A lot of big moments. We will talk about it right here on the show. But before I continue on, follow me on my social media platforms into the Square Circle Podcast on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and also on TikTok. Hit the like, hit the follow, hit the subscribe, and as I mentioned, it's a podcast. You're joining me on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. All you have to do is type into the Squared Circle Podcast. All right, I'm going to shut the hell up. Let's talk about AEW and the Young Bucks and the All-In video. Let's kick it off talking about it right here on the show and into the Squared Circle Podcast. If you've been living under the rock lately, well, AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday, well, the Young Bucks unveiled the backstage video of AEW's All-In of 2023 at Wembley Stadium last year between the confrontation of CM Punk and Jack Perry. Now, we talked about this last episode, and I made it very clear that it was a very bad business decision move. And boy, wow, it sure the hell did backfire, man. And it's been a couple days, man. It's been a couple days. The wrestling industry has been, oh, man, just having a shit show of fest online, man. Everybody is just poking fun at AEW, how it backfired. All right, so let's backtrack here a little bit. So this past Saturday, right? Not this past Saturday, but a week ago, right? They announced on Collision WrestleMania weekend that they will unveil the backstage fight. Well, not in that terms, but you know what I mean. They're going to reveal a footage backstage from AEW's All In. They didn't clarify what video or what it's going to be, right? They're just going to air it this coming Wednesday. So a lot of people are like, well, you know, I'm excited to see what happened. Again, you just heard my personal thoughts about it. And I said, no, bad business decisions, right? Right. And, well, they aired it, right? This past Wednesday on AEW Dynamite on TBS, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. And I got to say, the show started off hot, right? The show started off hot with Swerve Strickland attacking Samoa Joe. Nice little way to kick off the show. And I believe we had a match after that. Ospreay. No, I was wrong. I know there was a match afterwards, but either way, Adam Copeland versus Penta Zieto Miedo in a one-on-one match. It was a great match. But the show kicked off great. But they slapped the Young Bucks a vignette segment backstage after that match. And the rest of the show went downhill. Oh, man. So, the Young Bucks were backstage, and they cut off the promo telling the whole world, like, hey, okay, we are going to show this video of what happened at AEW's All In. There was an individual who pretty much pissed on the whole damn show. And we all knew it was CM Punk, right? And, they didn't mention it. And I guess this one individual is trying to tear down what they have built. The biggest stadium show of AEW history, Wembley Stadium. And, again, they never mentioned CM Punk's name or cross-reference or anything about it. That's what the Young Bucks said, right, in the video. So they said, you know what? Jungle Boy is just like one of us, Jack Perry, Southern California boy. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go. There's your reason why. A little Southern California clique here. The Young Bucks and Jack Perry. Now, that pretty much tells me right there that, that tells me everything right there as a fan, right? So, they played the video. The moment that I guess some wrestling fans are curious to see, right? They've had a week-long tease, or at least week and a half. Here we go. They show the video, right? And let me watch the video right now so I kind of show you guys real time. And, of course, people are posting the video on YouTube and social media, I guess. And I guess AEW is doing copyright strikes. And anyone who's reposting this video, so don't do it. They're going to shut down your YouTube page. That's why I'm going to kind of watch it here. Okay, so I have it dialed in on my phone here. So let me watch it. If you haven't seen it, I'll try to relay the video, what went down backstage at All In at AEW's All In, right? Wembley Stadium. Duh. Drawing a blank here. So I'm going to play the video. It's a 56-second video upload on YouTube. There is Samoa Joe pacing backstage, waiting for his match. You got a bunch of referees. CM Punk confronted Jack Perry. You have a producer alongside listening to the conversation. Looking at the visual, it looked like Jack Perry's saying some words to CM Punk. And let's see what's going to go down here in this video. And CM Punk talks to his producer. Now his hands are going around with... Now they're getting a little bit heated verbal here. You can see hands moving between Jack Perry and CM Punk. And CM Punk push him. And he get him in a headlock. And Samoa Joe jumps in with the referees. Guys coming around the gorilla position, stopping and breaking them up. And this was CM Punk. He went towards the gorilla position. And you can't really see Tony Khan because it's like deep inside this cubby area. There's the all-in wall. And you can't see who else is behind her, which you guess Tony Khan's probably back there. On my assumption, CM Punk is chewing somebody out behind the gorilla position computer. So my assumption, again, there's nothing is true or false if Tony Khan was back behind the computers, right? Where you can't see. So you think maybe that's where the point where Tony Khan felt like his life was in danger? I mean, CM Punk was really fed up. And you can hear his whole video, right? We played it on the last episode or two on the Ariel Helwani interview between him and CM Punk. And he was very detailed, or not too detailed, but well timeline of what went down at All In. So, I don't know, maybe that little piece right there in the video, you could check it out on YouTube. It's on X or Twitter, Facebook. It's everywhere, right? But yeah, you see CM Punk saying some couple words to somebody who's standing behind the table at the gorilla position. So, backstage. So, man, maybe, I don't know. So, again, what CM Punk said on the Ariel Helwani show matches up what the video's telling everybody. So if you haven't seen this on AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday, I looked at it live and I'm like, oh man, this is AEW. It's a complete dumpster fire. Man, they just slapped themselves in the face. I saw Corey Graves from the WWE put a meme up of somebody throwing a giant exercise bouncy ball at a wall and it bounced back and knocked him out. I assume he was referring to AEW. Just, it was embarrassing, man. It was embarrassing. And again, I love all pro wrestling, right? WWE, AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, NXT. I love it all. I love pro wrestling, man. Passionate. And I can pick out the good shit and the bad shit. And, well, man, this was the deepest bad shit on AEW. And the rest of the show just went downhill fast. There was just no turning back to make the show any better. So, oh, man, it was rough to watch. After that video came out, man, I don't know what to think about the Young Bucks when I see them after that. I mean, from what I'm hearing, again, just from what I'm hearing, the word of the mouth of the internet, which is always true, right? The Young Bucks are the ones who made it. They didn't make the decision. I guess Tony Khan made the decision, right? So, there's a lot of things crossing my mind here. Why? Why did they do it, right? Why? Is there a storyline purpose? And I try to look at it like, okay, so how does this fit in between the Young Bucks and the FTR feud, which both teams will face off in a ladder match at AEW Dynasty next weekend, right around the corner in St. Louis, a pay-per-view. So how does this video benefit the heat on the Young Bucks? Because that's the wrong kind of heat. If they're trying to do a double whammy, right? Are they trying to do a kill two birds with one stone attitude? Like, okay, we can have a lot of heat on us. Put it all on FTR, which didn't look good. And take shots at CM Punk, who embarrassed AEW last week. So, I don't know, man. It just, you put all those together, it's not a good mix. I mean, that's a bad batch right there, man. And, man, even when they tried to make it a storyline, it was wrongs at all different level. And I feel bad for FTR. Who's lumped into this mess? Who came out after this video? Addressed to the crowd, they were pissed off. And I'll be pissed off too. And look, if I was dumb, I would have told Tony Khan, dude, screw you, dude. I'm not going to go out there. I don't want to be part of this shit. That was embarrassing. Not for AEW, but just the whole pro wrestling industry. Everyone's laughing at Tony Khan. Bad. Absolutely bad. And, man, I just looking back at it now, it was all very embarrassing as a fan to watch. And it tells you right there, not only that, I don't know if Tony Khan's sensitive. If he's real, we hear all the stories out there. That, yeah, Tony Khan's a nice guy. Yeah, he's a very buddies or friends with everybody. A very touchy guy. And sound like, according to Dave Meltzer and the Wrestling Observer, again, the guy who's always truthful, right? Claiming that Tony Khan was pissed off, and he pushed it to the moon to get this video on air, which it hurt business big time. So sounds like Matt Hardy, again, I'm going off topic here, but it sounds like Matt Hardy is exploring his free agency, because he is free agent, not signed with AEW. So he is exploring all options. Sound like Hook, the current TNT champion. Sound like he's going to be planning on exploring his options as well. That's not good. That's not good for AEW. We got wrestlers exploring their options. TV ratings, man. You know, they probably thought, maybe we'll get a ratings pop this past Wednesday showing this backstage video. Well, they got a whopping 9%, 12%. Maybe people are curious to see it. But are you going to gain them back next week? No, you're not. You're not going to gain them. Don't be surprised if it go down a little bit next week or this coming Wednesday. It was embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing, shameful. And, man, And by the way, the Young Bucks, right, they were back in the show later on where Okada faced a jobber, which I feel bad for Okada, who is part of this mess, and the Young Bucks. And I don't know what happened, but I know the Young Bucks got involved. The fans were chanting CM Punk when the Young Bucks came out. That's bad. You have the crowd chanting the former AEW employee, I should say, a current top star in the WWE. The AEW crowd is cheering for him. That's not good. That is not good at all. And after the Young Bucks played that video, Will Ospreay came out. And fans are losing their damn minds on this. Damn it, Will Ospreay, you had to say what you said. And you're like, gee, what did Will Ospreay say? Well, Will Ospreay had a hell of a promo. It's nice, fiery, passionate promo. But when Triple H was on the Pat McAfee show over the WrestleMania weekend, he said, certain wrestlers wants to work a part-time schedule, right? Getting paid big money. And Triple H made a comment. There's certain people out there doesn't want to show up and, grind it out. If you don't want to grind it out, then you don't belong here. And a lot of people thought this was taking shots to Will Ospreay, who's a part-timer, who flies from Australia to the United States weekly, wrestles once with the company, which he never wrestled on Dynamite. He cut a promo. So they flew him from Australia to the United States to cut a promo. Unless he was on Rampage. I don't know. But he responded to the Triple H comments. And he said, you know what? Certain people's talking about me, about not grinding. If anybody's grinding, it's you, sir, who's grinding on the boss's daughter. Now, if you don't get the reference, he's talking about Triple H, married to Vince McMahon's daughter, Stephanie, right? That's what he's referring to on the other company in the WWE. So, a lot of people are like, man, it just can't get any worse. The Young Bucks backstage promo video, or the backstage all-in incident on video. And you got Will Ospreay talking about Triple H in a bad fashion manner, who's working on the other company. So, man, it was ugly to watch. But beyond this, man, the rest of the show was bearable to watch. Minus Dustin Rhodes versus Samoa Joe in the main event, but by the time I got to that point, I'm like, I don't want to watch a show no more. It was embarrassing. So, man, what are you guys' thoughts? Podcast land. Into the Square Circle Podcast on Facebook, X, Instagram. Drop it in the comment section of YouTube. Was it embarrassing? Did AEW or Tony Khan, should he regret showing the altercation between CM Punk and Jack Perry all in the Wembley Stadium? Do you agree with that? Yikes. All right. So we got that piece out of the way. Let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, let's talk about the reformation. I don't know how you want to call it. The Bloodline is upgrading? I don't know. But we'll talk about Smackdown. What I thought about the show, but mainly that one piece of information that I teased in the top of the show. With all that's coming up next right here at Into the Squared Circle Podcast. JB's here, and did you know that Into the Squared Circle Podcast is on YouTube? Did you? But yes, it is on YouTube. All you have to do is type in youtube.com/Into the Squared Circle Podcast. The Squared Circle Podcast. That's right, folks. If you're not subscribed, subscribe right now, damn it, so you never miss an episode each and every week, just like this podcast. That's right, folks. If you're on YouTube, you're typing how to change a light bulb or how to replace the batteries in your remote. And since you're there, all you have to do is search into the Squared Circle Podcast, hit the subscribe, hit the bell button, and you're a part of the family. Join the fastest growing community of pro wrestling independent podcasts on YouTube into the Squared Circle Podcast. Subscribe today. So, WWE Smackdown went down this past Friday on Fox, of course, and it was a pretty darn good show, I gotta say. 2 hours, that was pretty good. Non-stop action of stars. And so my favorite part on the show, I love LA Knight. You know, I guess they had a number one contenders match, which featured Kevin Owens and who else? AJ Styles. Anyway, AJ Styles won the number one contenders match for a future title shot. Great way, well deserved, of course. Bayley came out. It was great to see here with the world champion, women's world champion. Good stuff. And, all right, talk about the big piece here, man. The Bloodline. All right, so backstage, the beginning of the show, Paul Heyman, Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa. They're like, okay, man, we got to fix this up, man. Roman Reigns lost the title. Change must happen. Obviously, Cody, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Actually, Cody kicked off the show. Another State of the Union address promo. Good stuff, man, just like on Raw. It was really good. So he was addressing Raw and SmackDown. Makes you curious, because WWE draft is coming right around the corner in a couple weeks. And where Cody will land? SmackDown? That'll be interesting. So, I mean, look, we got Damian Priest and Cody on Raw. 2 champions. Somebody has to go on SmackDown as the world champion. And it's either be Cody or Damian Priest. So, I'll have to wait and see on that. But good to see a little teaser of Cody kicking off SmackDown. Cut a nice promo. And Cody now has a big backstage room where the Bloodline used to be. And Paul Heyman, Jimmy Uso, and Solo Sikoa goes to the locker room, and they're like, hold on. Roman Reigns not the champion. This is not our locker room no more. This is Cody Rhodes' locker room. So they went out to the ring, of course, to cut a promo. Nice little segment here between Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman. But long story short, right? Long story short, Solo Sikoa grabbed the mic, and I'm paraphrasing here, but like, man, some things have to change, some things has to go. The fans are like, oh, what's gonna happen? And I think he was going towards Paul Heyman, and he turned around and took out Jimmy Uso. But yeah, better. I don't think Solo did. I think the mystery, shocking debut, the new member of the Bloodline, Tama Tonga. That's right, folks. Tama Tonga, who's been part of New Japan Pro Wrestling for what? I can't tell you how long, right? He's been a veteran. He is a veteran in the ring. He is smart. He is good. He got to be what, 40s, 50s, but he still looks good. He can still kick ass in the ring. And what a addition, not only to the Bloodline, but to the WWE. Amazing. I talked about this, right? A couple episodes ago about Tama Tonga leaving New Japan, and where's he going to go, right? 2 biggest companies, AEW or WWE. It made sense for the WWE, right? With the Bloodline story. So that's a great addition. Tama Tonga. That's amazing, dude. I'm a big fan of his. And I'm excited. I'm excited as a fan, a pro wrestling fan who watches everything. I'm very excited. This new addition. The stun gun. His finishing move, for those who doesn't know about Tama Tonga's history, The former IWGP, I believe he was a former IWGP heavyweight champion, tag team champions. The Gorillas of Destiny with Tagaloa and Hekaleo, the Bullet Club. Obviously, Tama Tonga went on to be a singles wrestler from separating from the Bullet Club, of course, the past couple of years. But impressive. I'm excited. And but Jimmy Uso got attacked, and his ass is getting booted out from the Bloodline. So a lot of shocking stuff. Paul Heyman had a cell phone in his hand. Paul Heyman was like, call Roman Reigns. And Solo Sikoa snatched the phone out of Paul Heyman's. And Solo Sikoa stopped the cell phone with his boot. He was in the middle of the ring stopping the cell phone. And fans are like, oh. Could Solo Sikoa be the next tribal chief? Hey, we've been a lot of teasing, right? A lot of teasing the past month and a half or so. You can tell Solo Sikoa is getting this nice little build as a tribal chief. Remember, Roman Reigns had a ceremony, right? A couple weeks ago. You remember that in Smackdown? A couple of weeks ago, Roman Reigns had a ceremony where he had the undergarlets, we call it like the Hawaiian necklace. I don't know what the proper terms are. He was going to give it to Jimmy, thought he was going to get it, but they gave it to Solo. There's a pretty good guess that they've been building this. And man, Solo is the leader. Tama Tonga is part of the group. And the word is out there. The WWE picked up Jacob Fatu from MLW. Court Bowers, Major League Wrestling, MLW. And Jacob Fatu has been part of the company for the past couple of years. Hell of addition. Great guy. Yeah, I mean, he's impressive. A massive wild Samoan. And if there's anybody going to be joining this group, gosh, I hope Jacob Fatu joins us right off the bat. Oh, man, what a powerhouse. This is like a 2.0 Bloodline. Young blood. Veterans. Impressive. A stealth mode. This is definitely a new, fresh look of the Bloodline. And, man, you put those two together, who else going to join it? Who else? That'd be interesting, man. I'm trying to see who else is out there part of the Samoan dynasty that's either free agent or waiting to be out of the contract and other wrestling promotions. I know either Roman's family, cousins, or somebody's out there in the indie scenes. Man, there's a big dynasty family. And, man, this is awesome, man. I'm excited, man. I'm waiting for the next chapter of the Bloodline. Obviously, The Rock teased that he's coming for Cody in the near future. Yeah, you know The Rock's going to Hollywood, filming, making some movies. So it's going to be interesting, man. It's a very exciting time. The next chapter, the new era, the Paul Levesque era of the WWE. Hey, yeah, you. I'm watching you. Stop what you're doing. Well, I mean, if you're on an expressway, just don't stop. But this is a commercial. I fooled you. But did you know that I have a secondary podcast? Did you? It's very simple. If you're a fan of rock, you're a fan of heavy metal, you're a fan of classic rock, yeah, I do have a second podcast, but please, keep it a secret. Do not tell anybody, okay? It's called a Lesson in Headbanging Podcast. That's right. If you love to headbang, you love to go into mosh pits, you love to do crowd surfing, you love to hang out in the front row like I do, it's very simple. Get the hottest ticket in town, the hottest concert of the year. A Lesson in Headbanging Podcast. That's right. If you're a fan of rock and roll, that's right. I will do tour reviews, review upcoming tours in the coming year, like 2024. Upcoming albums, my album pick of the week. Man, I'm a fan of rock and roll. And if you're a fan of rock, check it out right now a Lesson in Headbanging podcast. Yeah, available on all major podcasting outlets just like this podcast, and available on YouTube as well. A Lesson in Headbanging podcast. Come on, baby. Join me in the pit. If you dare. Or just hit the follow and hit the like. It's that very simple. A Lesson in Headbanging podcast available right now. All part of the GSJ Multimedia Productions. If you need help in podcasting, maybe you need help with commercials, maybe you need help videoing some stuff like a commercial for your business or whatnot, GSJMultimedia.com is the place to be. Let your ideas and vision come to life. All right, folks, the main event of the show here, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Windy City Riot. Went down this past Friday night, of course, at the Wintrust Arena in downtown Chicago, which was featured live on, was it New Japan World or probably Fight TV or Thriller TV. So we'll do a quick rundown and we'll talk about some of the big moments, right? So here's the pre-show matches of Matt Vandergrift defeated Zane J. Trish Adora and Alex Winsdorf defeated Mina Shikawa and Viva Van. The show kicks off at Ren Narita defeating Minoru Suzuki. Wow. Stephanie Vaquer defeated AZM for the Strong Women's Championship. The Four Corners Tag Team match for the Strong Openweight Championship match. Team TMDK, Shane Hayes and Mikey Nichols defeated Fred Rosser and Tom Lawler. The West Coast Wrecking Crew, Royce Isaac and Jarrell Nelson. And the Gorillas of Destiny, here we go, I talked about them, of El Fantasmo and Hekaleo, who were the champions. So how about that? Congrats to Team TMDK. All right, here's about this little moment here. Shota Umino defeated Jack Perry. Let's talk about that. Jack Perry has been part of this big drama we talked about in the beginning of the show between him and CM Punk at the All-In incident. So, Jack Perry responded by visual. He showed up in Chicago. His pair of pants had broken glass, like a fabric design on his pants, of how this incident began over a glass between him and CM Punk last year at All In. And Jack Perry wore a jacket that said Crimea River, and he carried a Chicago flag around his neck. Talk about a heat magnet. The crowd's booing at him. They had, I guess, a bunch of jobbers dressed up like, we call those SWAT team members. They had the face mask. They had the bulletproof vest. They had the stick, the knighting stick. They had four of them cornering each corner of Jack Perry walking down the ring. Talk about heat. Man, way to piss on Chicago. Way to piss on the whole drama between him and CM Punk and AEW. But he got in the ring and he lost to Shota Umino. How about that? Well, talk about heat moment. And I shared that on my X profile into the Square Circle podcast. Go check out the video, man. It's awesome. All right, Chicago's very own Mustafa Ali. How about this? Defeated Hiromu Takahashi in a singles match. What a big win for Mustafa. Man, that's amazing, man. He's on a world tour after leaving the WWE or got released. And good for him, man. Defeating Hiromu Takahashi in Chicago. Big win for Mustafa. All right, Riot Rules match. I assume it's probably like a street fight or something. Bullet Club. For life. David Finlay, Kenta, and Clark Connors and Gabe Kidd defeated Eddie Kingston, Homicide, and the United Empire, Jeff Cobb and TJP. Wow, hell of a match. All right, Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Matt Riddle by pinfall for the New Japan Pro Wrestling World Television Championship. I bet that was a hell of a match. 13 minutes and 15-second match. Man, I wish I could saw that. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Matt Riddle. Wow. How about this match? Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, defeated Tomohiro Ishii in a singles match. How about that? Stone Pitbull And the main event, holy smokes, this one shocked me. Jon Moxley defeated Tetsuya Naito to become the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Who in the hell would have thought that Jon Moxley would defeat Tetsuya Naito, to become the new IWGP Champion? Who in the world ever thought Jon Moxley would be the world champion for New Japan? Absolutely nuts. Absolutely. And remember, Tetsuya Naito, if you're a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, he won the title at Wrestle Kingdom from Sonata at the main event. So that was back in January, February, March, April. So what, 3 months holding the title, and they dropped it to Jon Moxley? Wow, that's a big shock to me. Let's see how long Jon Moxley will have the title. My guess, he may hold the title till, I got to say, probably in, June? For Forbidden Door in New York. Because Tony Khan has announced, the AEW announced their pay-per-view schedule for the year. Yes, All Out will be here in Chicago at the Now Arena. They switched it to the Now Arena. They're not going to be at the United Center this year. Well, we'll see if my ass will be there. It depends on how the shit goes by September 1st. And they're going to have Forbidden Door at the Long Island, the USB Arena or whatever it is. But they're moving from Arthur Ashe Stadium to a small arena. So they're being wise here, right? They're going from big to small. They're downgrading. So we know the United Center here in Chicago is pretty big. Big crowd. And, that's tough to fill. The Now Arena, a little bit shorter, right? Shorter than the United Center. Shorter than the Allstate Arena. Maybe a tad bit shorter than the Wintrust Arena in downtown Chicago. So of all the arenas in the Chicagoland area, I think the Now Arena is probably the best option for being a smaller arena. So, yeah, man. My best, Jon Moxley may defend it at Forbidden Door. Possibly. Who will it may be? We'll have to wait and see. Maybe Okada. Again, he's an AEW. But we'll have to wait and see how things will plan out. All right, folks. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Start off another kick-ass action week of pro wrestling. See what's going to go down. Of course, but stay tuned right here and into the Square Circle Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, X, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Hit the like, hit the follow, and join the conversation. Also, join me on Patreon. Patreon.com/Into the Square Circle Podcast. $1.99 a month gives you all the access, but not only the bonus content, but your name will be featured at the very end of the episode right here on the podcast and on YouTube for credits. And you choose the topic, what you want to talk about for the bonus content. Patreon.com/Into the Square Circle Podcast. So join today. All right, folks, until next time, happy wrestling, be safe, bye-bye, everybody.